live stream. Technical difficulty derpy. Here we go. Someone make a derpy sound? Like bubbles popping. I believe you. Fluffy? No? Okay. No derpy from her. Anyway, we're going through your description on this. Welcome, Little Pony and Maze and Shadow King and oh my gosh, it's an adorable picture. So, going through your description, we're talking about some of the comments you've left, and we'll just pick it up at nitpick myself. As usual, I dislike the background as a whole and found that my shadows don't quite reach the edge of their respective places, presumably due to one of my effects. Just before I wanted to upload this, so I really did not want to show the edit of the shadows, especially when I rasterized that layer a long time ago. To the guy who suggested dimensions, I think that might have been me. I usually say those words. I think I make it sound smart. Or me sound smart. I think it follows them, but I can't be quite sure. To the guy who suggested having darker edges on the shadows, I think that was Fluffy. That has been implemented, but you may have to zoom in because it's rather subtle. And to the guy who thought the Solar Queen Chrysalis, I have no idea how you thought that, but here you go. Not quite sure what that meant. I know the crown is cut off, by the way, and to be honest, I forgot it for a while and didn't want to change my aspect ratio or cut off the foot. Also, yes, this is my handwriting. Look, there was a delay with my paintbrush because Photoshop hates me and my computer specs aren't the best. The next one I plan to do will be a pony once again, blah, 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 blah stuff. Okay, let's go over some of these points. I'm going to start off with the last one. Hey, the delay on your paintbrush, you might actually just have a setting turned on that does that. Often it is, do I have it listed here? No, of course I don't have it listed here. It's smoothing.
Stabilizer. Thank you.
Depending on which program, but yes, stabilizer, smoothing. Go look at that, turn it down, and see if your mouse gets a better or your brush gets a better response. Often what the stabilizer is doing is it is taking a period of time and averaging that. It's like in milliseconds, but milliseconds feel like hours some days. Especially when you go for a stroke and all of a sudden the stroke doesn't match what you did and it's like hanging behind you and like, what's going on? Yeah. So check your stabilizer. Second, maybe back away from Photoshop. Photoshop is a hog. It is great for photo editing and refinements in that. Honestly, not the greatest program. Yeah, for art, especially on a low-end machine.
Some digital painting in there, but like cartoonism stuff, like it's just not suited for it.
My suggestion: wait for Clip Studio Paint to drop on sale. It drops on hilarious sale. Pick that thing up when it hits it. Go on their mailing list, and it'll tell you when the sale comes up. Alternatively,
we also typically announce it in the bulletin board here in the MLPDS Discord as well. Someone usually posts, "Hey, Clip Studio's on sale." We love it.
Clip Studio Paint. It's our current favorite application. It is a paid piece of software, but it's good.
It's very cheap, and when it goes on sale, it goes even more. It gets you can get it for like $20, and it's like this one-off payment to permanently own a software that's really good.
If I could describe it, and if you know of SAI, it's like SAI and Photoshop had a baby where they mesh everything together.
And it make everything actually makes sense and works like it's supposed to.
Yes, the lack of credit card will make that difficult. I think they take cash, like money orders too, and they do the temporary Visa things, the Visa gift cards.
I also know some people on our server were kind enough if you offer commissions for the program.
Absolutely. When it's on sale, I will try and drop it into people's laps for commissions. Because, bribes.
Art. Everyone wins with the art.
Yeah. The other option is Psy. It's a bit cheaper. But if you want to go completely free, you have some options like Krita.
Krita, yep. And what's the other one? Medibang Paint?
Yeah.
It's Actually, I know Affinity has like a vector program. I don't know if it has like a painting program. Can't remember. I know I briefly tried Medibang. Could not like even begin to understand it. But like, I mean, with any program, like proper like time taken to understand the UI can get used to it. But like, my rule is like if I'm taking like 5 minutes and can't figure out how to do like even a basic thing, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna just stick to my guns.
Yeah, it sounds like you got the memory requirements to deal with it. You should have the I don't know why Photoshop would be running slow.
I have 6 GB memory, so yeah, you're fine. Yeah, Krita is a bit of a RAM hog, but you should be fine.
Yeah, you might want to shut down Chrome though. Goddamn Chrome. So, do you have any questions in particular about this? Because you did mention the shadows. You sort of went over how you're going to correct them, and that have done the edges, and it darkens and that. You talked about the face and how you have corrections already inbound. You don't care about the horn because you're happily cutting that off. My suggestion: you're digital. You can always modify and shrink and change this entire thing to suit your will at any given time. Use your thumbnailing so that rough sketch before going at this. Figure out the size and where the character should be. And that's going to save you from losing things like a horn and a crown. But then again, it's honestly not needed. Your picture does feel a little cramped, much like I whipped out a cell phone and snapped this picture of her while she was walking past. Where
yeah, it does sort of feel like that.
Though honestly, if you did want to have that tight shot with everything, cut off or things cut off, usually the best thing you can do is kind of balance it. Right now we just have the head cut off, so it definitely feels really cramped that way. Maybe go for even further zoom in, so there's more cut off. Like
I was gonna say, like go for like, yeah, it's like a little bit. So you're sort of cutting off like partially upwards of the thighs, maybe, or like just going for like a bust shot, or just do it completely zoomed out and just have it completely in the shot. Because a rule of thumb with art, which I was actually thinking about earlier, and this interesting I brought up now. It also goes to like tangents and also to a few other things as well. But this good rule of thumb is like, go all or go nothing. Like if sometimes things can look really weird or out of place just because they're like slightly in one position, when sometimes it's better to just like really push it and exaggerate it and go one way or go the other way. No, not like just sort of on the fence.
And as for the background, I know you talked a lot about how you're not happy with it and you've tried several times. Did you plan the background after you drew the character, or was it, did you draw the background with the character?
Yes, they say.
Alrighty. So that's where a lot of backgrounds fail, is when you don't consider the background as a character itself. It is a character. You have to draw them together. Everything has to be considered together. Yeah. And that really makes the difference, because it's not a second thought, so it doesn't fit. Where you could look at this, because something that's a dead giveaway to me that messes with your character and the background are the placement of the character's feet on the background. Because of the way you have the tiles laid out, her right foot is on the complete other opposite side.
Yeah. You can see what I've done with my little sketching here. I put the feet how they should go in the perspective we're given from the background. Because now that you bring that up, Ali, if you cut out the background completely, I can sort of see how the character makes sense, but from like a different plane of existence completely.
So like little stuff like that, if you don't plan them together, stuff like that slips through the cracks, and planning together in the beginning is usually always the best thing. If your sketch is planned out, the rest of the piece will follow.
I mean, it's not just the tiles didn't mess you up. The tiles actually, I think, help.
They look great.
They provide measurement and perspective, and it's actually good. What's happening here is, in doing that, we've realized an issue that we otherwise wouldn't have seen. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's caused by the tiles. It just means they got us to see it. But that issue would always be there even if those tiles weren't.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's basically it does. They are sort of acting like a ruler to show the perspective is broken, but it just it isn't causing the perspective to be broken. If you get what I mean.
Hi, CPC.
I mean, I really hi CPC. I really do like the background you have going. I like the depth in the background, but I think something that'll help is having a foreground as well. You have nothing in the foreground, and
You
I
could
think
have like a we got like the light source. You could have like a bezier. Is that what's called? Brazier? Or
like
the
little flamey, torchy.
Yeah, the sort of like
lantern.
flame post things they have in like castles and stuff.
You could even have just like some sort of I don't know, like wall poking out here or something that gives you that foreground, so you get the full foreground, midground, background effect, and that'll really pull. Because right now you just have the midground and background, and there's not that foreground that can really lock things, make you feel like make the piece feel really that dimension.
I'm really glad to have this like quick feedback from them as well. Like oftentimes we have to wait for like 30 minutes for someone to like respond.
I don't know. I haven't been to the Kratos site in a long time.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember. They said it's the created download page intentionally satire. It's just some default word art font and static.
That'd be comical.
I don't know. Word art font is a sin.
It looks. It looks okay to me. What are you downloading?
It's clearly like a fake creator. It's creatures like Bizarro World, other like Dark World form.
Mine looks, swanky enough.
I mean, the holes make sense. It's definitely a much more ragged and gruesome look with how rippy and teary they are. If that's what you're going for, great. Otherwise, you could go for a little bit more depth in some areas. Like the hand is very, very thin and the arms are very thin. So it's just a matter of practicing that depth and what you consider. Like when you consider the arms, they're cylinder, right? So it's like practicing cutting a hole through a cylinder and making sure you have that full width of the cylinder there instead of cutting off early, because that can destroy the illusion of the width of the cylinder, like that 3D illusion we give when we draw the 3D objects on a 2D plane.
Totally. Just one sec. Roommate got home. Closing the
No
door.
problem.
We have interruption.
I got that as I was like going to open the door. I'll cook supper after the live stream, okay? I'm just gonna make the sausages. Yeah, I only got one more picture, so I'll be done in the next like 20 minutes.
In the meantime, we can answer a quick pencil case question. Just that you had a question for Ali.
Oh, CBC. Now that the picture, I got your envelope and I love it, and there's glitter and stickers everywhere, and you're the best. And I'm framing the print, and I never.
I don't know what
tell
to do
you.
with my box. Like do anything. I might like cut out the pony drawings from the box and like stick them like a collage.
Oh yeah, I'm saving the envelope because it is great.
Yeah.
It is an absolutely great envelope. The Rarity hair glitter worked out. Don't worry.
You got any other questions, little
go
pony?
into your plushies and I'm gonna end up having sparkly glitter hair. What was the? Maybe she's typing it. I was gonna ask what was the question. Yeah, Riley.
If you have any other questions, little pony, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we're gonna pop on to the next one. And I hope to see more pictures from you. It looks, you're doing great work.
If you have oh yeah, God, they asked if you have transparent hair, what the hell do you do with this for the scalp area? Yeah, that is very. Usually, you sort of take liberties and just pretend it's like not transparent in that part, or like make the head. But then if it is transparent, you have stuff behind the hair, it's like, oh my god. So you actually just have to draw the entire head, which you really should do anyway, at least on the undersketch sort of side of things. But yeah, it does look really weird if you just have like a bald hair with like plastic coming out of it. But that's sort of these are exactly the kind of tricky things you have when you break rules with how things look.
This is what you get for breaking the law.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
I am the law.
Breaking the law, anatomy law.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. That's what we're doing. All right, on to Fluffy's eyes.
Woohoo!
Hey, Fluffy's eye.
Hello.
I need exact questions.
The body's legs, pretty much anatomy. I am not good with this pose. I tried to find reference. I couldn't. I'm not really sure how to make things look nicer, but there's something just very broken about them, and I don't exactly know what. I was hoping just for second opinions.
Horses are fun. You can throw a drawing in here, Pucker.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest. Your posing is too repeated. I don't like the fact they're both doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I understand
it's typically how you would sit, but it does look a little bit too mirrored, I guess.
Yeah. I assume there's going to be like a Christmas tree over here, blah blah blah, and then
There was going to be, but it's going to take too long, so they're just having like a fireplace.
All right, that works too. My suggestion: take this pony or the other pony, whichever one you want, and like throw his arms up, have the package mostly unwrapped. The one on the left is more timid. The one on the right is just going at it. Because unless if they're a mirror of each other, it looks a little weird.
Yeah. Because I did try to, obviously nothing was like copied and pasted and flipped or anything. I did try to put some like differences in how like the head position and arms and everything, but it's still too similar.
Also, both of these people are not looking at their own gift. They're looking at off camera to something over here. So
they're eyeing the next present.
I would turn the head, especially because they're like tracking the gift. They aren't just looking off in the distance at a quick glance. They're actively engaged with this gift. I would curve the back more so the head can tilt down and they're just going at that thing.
Okie doke. Maybe I have the backs coming out at more of like a backwards angle at the base and then curve around in more of an arc. Maybe that's the problem. Like as if they're sort of like leaning back more on the base, but then bent forward.
Yeah. Bonus points if you make one of them tearing it open with their mouth too.
That'd be fun.
Because they both appear to be earth horses.
Yeah, I don't know actually. They might not be, but this was just like the rough sketch to get the pose out of the way, and that's the part I'm struggling with. Step one. Then it's going to come the detail of making everything like aligned properly and races, and totally not forgetting the wings and the horn.
Totally not forgetting that type of stuff.
Which happens all the time.
You should look at the picture that has been shared in our chat from Maze. It's pretty appropriate for a more action-oriented pose of that.
I'm just gonna click on it. That goes down. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Bring it to life. I know you can pull off anatomy when you start varying it up, because I think what's happening right now is because the mirror is there, you're going, oh shoot, I see all these little issues. But if you're to have a contrast going on, it's going to even itself, or it's going to pull away from any small issues that are hanging around.
Well, I mean, with even just like one of them there, like I've sort of mostly been trying to focus on fixing up the left one, for example. Then it's like, even just looking at one of them, I'm still like, this whole body is just not shaped like a pony's body should. I don't know how to get the bean in there. Somehow it just doesn't work in this body. And like even like in the screenshot May sent, like they just don't have the same like shape when they're sitting in these positions, because it is a difficult sort of broken pose to do. But I've seen people do it really well, and I can't find references at the moment for some reason, and can't remember how to pull it off. I think the body is like the main thing. I've always struggled with like the back legs in general, but especially when it's like sat down like this, because then it's like how the leg and then like the bump bit and then the butt sort of work together to form like the base of gravity and everything. I just don't quite know how that shape works sometimes. Because everyone has like a different idea of it. Yeah, the back is too fat. True. Or like in the sort of like the lower part, I think. And I feel like the on the left one, the tummy is the part that's too like pushed forward. It's like they gotta have that knee shape, you know? Like that. It's more of a pear shape. Because then like the neck is difficult as well. It's like that.
Yeah. I would just go for the varied pose. Just go at it. Go wild.
Hog wild.
Squeal.
I'll ask them if either which of the ponies is more like enthusiastic and like I'll like give them a more exciting pose. They were also like, oh, make this one, the one on the left, this one, the one on the right, because this one is like smaller than the other one. It's like, well, the ponies were meant to be the same size. I was just really bad at getting proportions accurate. So apparently one of them looked smaller before I did do some like altering. But,
I feel like this is a perfect chance to do an after picture where the one's playing with whatever the gift is and the other one's just playing with the wrapping.
yes.
All right.
I think that's what I do.
Awesome. Then let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's go picture.
We have a submission from Puckersturve. It is on layer 2. You're all gonna have to get over that because I didn't click the
That's
layer.
what I was drawing.
I don't think I can get over it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, looks out, it's great.
So
Aw, cutie.
it's never enough. Old Twilight too. Like she has no wings.
I love the name. Like, it has such a cute curl to it. I usually try to do something similar, but this is just way better.
It is not too late to pop in a picture, JazzWolf.
Absolutely. Submit to our
Right up
faces. Right in the face. Just submit it.
So Puck, are you actually going for pre-alicorn Twilight, or is this a missing wing syndrome? Too lazy to draw wings. Okay, pre-alicorn Twilight it is.
I love the ears. They look so soft.
Oh, they do.
I am going to note your ears don't appear to be attached to the same section on the head.
They're
So
sort of like, you can sort of like outline them. Then there's like an entire like extra sort of like lump.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
tube
but-
that extends
Yeah.
off. If
Yeah, it's-
I would take Fluffy's design there and just bring it in more, and the other one would just have like the hint of it showing over on the other side if it's positioned like it is for your right one. That's the prominent one. If it isn't, then I'm gonna say something that's weird. You can almost get rid of the eye or the ear, just gone.
Just get rid of the eye.
Get
eye.
rid of the eye. Yes, she's a pirate.
Yes.
I'll fix it. She can have an eye patch. There we go.
And then don't forget, this is really important to the picture. Add the parrot to the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the most important critique.
I'm definitely gonna agree with Maze. That leg is super duper long for her head. Her head should equal her leg if we're going for standard MLP proportions. Generally, people like to stretch those, but this is like twice the length here.
And also, it's very thick, because if I look here, I'm seeing the arm almost that thick. And if we look over here, it's much, like the arm is so much thicker than, it's shorter.
If you prefer that, if your style just encompasses having longer legs, Spark, that's fine. If that's just like your universe ponies. I think it doesn't look too bad for myself, honestly. So, I think that's okay.
I think if you just thinned it up a bit, even with foreshortening, it wouldn't be that much thicker than where her chest is.
Thickness is something. Yeah, but lengthwise, I think it's okay personally.
I think I'd also change the position or the pose of the leg. It's kind of weird to have her interacting with it on the back of her hoof.
Yeah, I was wondering what's happening there. So at first I thought she was like holding a sparkler or something, but like the hoof isn't in the right position. And I thought, oh, maybe she's like, I can imagine this like floaty, sparkly thing. She's like lifting it up or like sort of gently like cradling it in the air with her hoof. But it'd still make more sense to have it like the hoof turned upwards, I guess. I don't know.
It is possible that she's implementing proper safety systems, because if you touch an electrical or a hot object with the bottom of your hand, it's more likely to have your fingers contract around it, where if you use the back of your hand, your fingers aren't going to contract around it and you can pull away.
I've never heard of that before.
I kind of think of it like when you reach out to greet a butterfly in that magical moment, and it lands on
That's
the back
what
of your hand.
That's what I was trying to imagine. I couldn't put it into words. That's what I was trying to think of.
Then it's slightly wrong, because it's definitely reach out, take a deep breath, and the butterfly gets pulled into your mouth.
Gag on the floor.
The sarcastic, that's totally the reason to your electrical safety thing. Yeah, like the not having fingers they don't have contract is definitely the reason.
Exactly, Punk. The gif is perfect.
That is absolutely perfect.
I do see how big you've made this cheek too. The big poofy cheek's adorable, but then you've like blended this, the bottom of the chin in, and we've lost the definition of that other side that's going to be big and poofy. Because if it's like sticking out, yeah, if it's sticking out on one side, we kind of want the other side. Unless if she's like a chipmunk and she's holding more sparkles in that cheek.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to bring out the definition of like the cheek that doesn't have an outline. It's a lot of rendering. You have to deal with the rendering play of that, especially with the light source being so under her chin.
I think you can still abuse that light source, because
Absolutely,
it's coming on straight-ish to that area, so you can just do a pretty deep dark line, much of the same darkness as the back going on here, or the beside the hair lines.
They're struggling with that. It's all the butterflies in her cheeks. Making them too poopy.
But overall, freakishly adorable, and you have some
Honestly,
great rendering and coloring.
Also, you don't appear to be in our Discord. You should totally join. We can share art and learn together.
You see what we have learned. Nope, that's copyrighted, I think.
Rainbow from the movie is playing right now, and I'm finding it very hard to not sing so that Strange doesn't throw a flag at my face.
You should definitely join. It's a silly place full of silly people.
Oh, you are? See, I was. That's why I wanted to check. I thought that you were in the Discord. I was like, are there someone from the Discord? I can't remember. And then I searched and you weren't in there. So I guess it's
All right. Do you have any further questions for us, Puck? Awesome.
cool.
Let's move on to our next mission.
With the rest of this cutie patootie picture. Oh.
Let me put it on the right layer this time.
Oh, if I could say one more thing to Puck. I love, what I want you to notice is the texture you have for your ear fluff versus the texture you have for the fluff along the chest and the arm. It gets very blurry on the chest and the arm, and it kind of loses that feeling of slight little ticks of fur coming out that makes it nice and soft and fluffy. Instead, it feels just you lose that I don't want to say line. What's a good word for it? Not structure, but
Just keep it texture.
Yeah, it keeps it more textury.
Yeah.
You kind of lost it to the blur, so it's more just blur.
Yeah. And I think that the highlighted shadow as well is very like well blended for most of the picture, but you might just not have gotten much to it yet. But on the hoof, it like some sort of cuts off here, and it's very sharp, and then it like the same thing happens to the shade as well. So like we've got this sort of like shape happening here.
Mm-hmm.
But it might just be that you hadn't gotten as much time to blend that yet, because it's very well done in the rest of the picture.
Well, let me say, like, you're struggling, but you did a fantastic job on that ear.
Yeah.
The colors you used, the way you rendered it, it may not have been placed, we just pulling it in, but it is great as it is. The object, I feel, is really good. The texture is really
Yeah.
good. I think that's a really great example of what you can do.
We require more art from you.
Always. Cute, fluffy, painty ponies. It's my favorite.
All right, so our next submission one is by JazzWolf. So JazzWolf, you got any questions for us? I also have a question for you. What in the world is going on with this
Like
OC? Are they like Park Doc Ock?
Yeah, they look like they've got this sort of like the spiky teeth and no irises.
There are some cute pictures in this gallery.
Where is the pony we're looking for? Was it in the Picato something to us, or in the? Oh yeah, there they are. I sometimes struggle with dynamic poses, and I'm wondering if it looks okay or not.
Yeah, it looks okay. It actually looks very very alive.
Yeah, I really like. That's one of the first things I noticed was that there's a lot of like motion to how the ponies are like positioned. We also need to we need context. What is this red pony? This hooded pony. Dynamic pose. Yeah. So I think you've got a really good job of that. 'Cause, I mean, like there's honestly like a lot going on. Not in like a clustered sense, but it's very like so we've got the blue pony. Like obviously we've got like a looking direction, so there's like interaction going on here. But then they got this nice like motion, and they got like another interaction with the hooves. And the same thing goes to the red one as well. Like there's a lot of we can even see. I'm not sure if this is actually what's happening, but it looks like the red one's like shooting across just from the pose. It looks like they're kind of moving to the right. I don't know if that's what's going on. I can imagine them both like twirling around. Like, this one's going this way, and this one's going this way. I don't know. But yeah, it's very good. You've got a lot of elements going on in terms of how they're meshing, how they're layered, how they're like interacting and moving. It's very nicely shown. I can't think of anything personally that is off about the posing. So like I guess that we just see like this one hoof, and we don't really know where this, or even with this leg as well, we don't know like where those legs are coming from. But I guess it's just like how they're overlapped. I suppose maybe it might be hard to show that, but you could maybe at the very least show a little bit more of this hoof, like as this one is bending over this arm here. So it's like, okay, here's this other hoof. I don't know. Up to you to have a play around with it.
I would also take this joint here, bring it out just so it looks like the arm is actually dropping down to where the shoulder would be. Just doing that.
I might even, if you're gonna drop, like, show the elbow, I would even call for that hoof to be a little shorter and maybe float up, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Scruffy seconds.
Woo. I mean, it is a very interesting piece. You have a lot of dynamic to it. Trying to think what could make it pop a little more.
Popcorn?
Popcorn.
Just out of every area.
Yeah. Popcorn.
See, it's a new theme. Popcorn gore. It's like pinatas, popcorn. And that is actually what like would happen. They're like sparkly unicorns. They actually just contain candy and popcorn. And sherbet, UK sherbet.
Both Pucksterv and Little Pony just joined our Discord.
Yay!
Nice.
Oh yeah, so do you have any other questions on this one? So long, CPC!
Bye, CPC.
I think she just wanted to know what that cotton stuff was so she could like make a nest of it on her bed.
That's it, definitely. Fluff everywhere.
Or she
The
wanted
walls.
to like 18 times the stuffing inside of a comforter, so it's like a massive pillow all the way down the comforter. Also, what the pony with the shark teeth has been experimenting on by... Oh. Alright. That father needs to find other hobbies.
Rather than implanting metal blades on your children's back.
Yeah. And shark teeth in their mouth. Yeah, this pose is awesome.
Yeah, the pose is great. The only thing I'd say to work on is clothing rendering, because right now it's there's some spots that have great fabric folds, but areas like do I even
Like across the head to neck, it's just a flat.
yeah, like that kind of stuff. There's no fold, there's no connection. Even I know it's magical fantasy pony world, but
Pony world.
Pony world. But the
Pony
ears,
World.
the ears, if they're gonna stick up like that, maybe design a pocket for the ears so it's not just like you know, it's not just because you kind of lose the idea that it's clothing when you kind of treat it however you want to treat it.
I mean, they could definitely have like a sort of ear shape, like pyramid pocket in as part of the shape of the clothing. It's just sort of like folded out.
Absolutely.
Just like give it more, especially the one on the back, give it more of a sort of gentle fold because it's very pointed to the ear shape on the back. It's where it should be a bit more of like a. You can imagine how like the ear would be pushing the fabric outwards. No, because my main Pathfinder character is a cat girl and she has a hoodie, so like I've had experience with this too.
How to hoodie with things with ears.
Yes.
It is difficult.
And
They're
when
like-
to set the ears free.
I like the animations of people who just have like ponies and hoodies and makes the ears flap up and down.
Yes.
Those are great.
Alright, well, if that's that, seems like that's all the pictures we've got for this week.
Woo.
Thank you for submitting, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, too. We'll see you again next week, I guess.
Yeah, we're finally back in action for like scheduledness.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And only had a little bit of technical difficulties.
We'll eventually get it all sorted out, and then it'll promptly break again.
You're
Probably.
welcome, little pony.
Hope to see y'all around.
Bye! Maybe I should hit that.